and welcome back to the channel. I hope you've had an amazing day and an amazing week so far. We are almost done with the 10-part series, How to Actually Change Your Life. This is going to be part 9, and we're going to be talking about boundaries today. Before we jump into anything, please make sure to like and subscribe, and you can follow me on all socials. Across all socials, I'm at Coach Ange222. So, boundaries. One of the most important things I talk to my clients about that I try and implement in my life and that I want to talk to you about today. Boundaries are going to help us make sure that we protect our peace, protect our space, our time, our energy, our money, and really making sure that whatever we find valuable is going to be protected with these boundaries. So like I was talking about, boundaries being such an important thing in your life, of course, it's really hard to put a tangible kind of grasp on what a boundary can look like. So that's why we're talking about it today. Something that usually comes up first and foremost is unsupportive family, friends, or even your partner, and how to have a boundary with them when it comes to your space, your energy, your time. And when I say unsupportive, it just means like unsupportive in, maybe what you're trying to do with your job, maybe that you're trying to change your fitness journey, maybe you're trying to just change and up level in your life and they don't fully understand. So having a level of boundary there is going to be really important, because only you truly know intuitively what you need for yourself in your life and what's going to make you successful and what's going to make you happy. And people in your life are attached to the current and or old version of you. Therefore, you may have to put boundaries with them when it comes to what you're trying to do and achieve, when you're trying to actually change your life, and understanding that they might not understand. They might not get it, and that's okay. But having boundaries when it comes to maybe sharing everything with them, and it's okay if you want to share with them, but if you feel the need to like withhold some information or keep certain things, close to your chest, that's okay. Of course, you do what you want in your life. I'm not telling you how to maneuver, things in your marriage or whatever the case, right? Or even with your parents or with your family. But just know that having a boundary is going to be extremely important, because sometimes not everyone is going to understand. And I've mentioned in a previous YouTube video that the level up can be lonely, and this can be part of that, of like having a boundary and like keeping certain things close, because only you truly know the desires in your heart. And if you are wanting to get into alignment and really change your life, sometimes that means having a boundary with the people in your life, because they might not get it, and that's okay. So to segue into that, right, like parental boundaries for, whoever you have in your life, whether that is your parents or a parental figure, and maybe they are constantly wanting to use your time or your energy or your money. And it's unfortunate, but they may feel like they have full access to you even once you're an adult, and you might need to put a boundary if they're constantly, showing up unexpected, and you've told them before, like, hey, you need to let me know before you get here, or they're constantly calling you every single second of the day, or like trying to get you to give them money, or whatever the case, right? Like, you have to have a boundary when it comes to how much you're willing to give, even when it comes to your parents or your family. And it is a tough one, because it's different than a friend. It's very different. And it's tough because family is different than your friends. Like, you don't pick your family, and you want to be there for them. I understand, because maybe they were there for you first. But once you become an adult, you are the CEO in your life. You're the executive in your life, right? Like, you have to make those decisions. And sometimes that means putting a boundary and saying no, or saying, hey, not this time, or I can't make every event, or I can't, whatever the case. Because you also have to protect your energy and your time, again, your money, your accessibility. You have to have a grasp on that. And that means potentially having a boundary and saying no, or something along those lines that could be the word no in just many words, if that makes sense. Another boundary that a lot of people overlook are work boundaries. With that comes like not answering emails after a certain time, leaving when you're supposed to be leaving, not replying to emails at midnight or at 4 a.m. or something like that. And making sure that you put some respect on your name, if you would, and being like, here's the capacity that I have. If it's not within this threshold or this, time frame, I will handle it next time. Like having your own business hours, if you would. Especially if you're also an entrepreneur or a business owner, you have to set your own level of boundaries or business hours, and not just showing like, yeah, I'll reply to DMs, or emails or whatever the case at any hour. Of course, if you're replying to maybe like your assistant or someone who you work with to where it's like, hey, this was an emergency or whatever the case. Again, it is very nuanced. There is no hard like structure or tangible like way to say here's a boundary, but just being more mindful of like, how much time and energy am I going to give to this? Because then that trickles into work-life balance, and that's going to be a whole other conversation. But making sure that you are saying, here's my capacity and I don't need to push past that threshold, because now we're also getting into burnout and like, you know, overusage of your time and your energy. And that is not the path to go down. I always say like burnout is not cute. It's not cute on anybody. So making sure that you have boundaries with work and really putting your foot down and being like, I respect my time and my energy. Therefore, those who I work with need to also respect my time and my energy. Like, it is extremely crucial that you show up for you and you show up in a way that you have the capacity to. You don't always need to overdo it and over like give, because you're going to burn out and become resentful potentially. It's like just not a good look. It's just not a good time. And I want you to always feel like you have a grasp on your time, your energy, your money, and not feel like you're just give to everybody. Keep some of that close. Your energy and your time and your money is important to have those boundaries, which leads me into the last note on this, which is self boundaries, right? So this self boundaries trickles into all aspects of your life, because if you can't even have boundaries with yourself, it's going to be really difficult to have boundaries with other people. Because saying, you know, hey, I know how to trust myself first and foremost, and like really putting a boundary with yourself is going to help implement those things with external factors like work, like your parents, like your friends, etc. Right? So self boundaries can look like actually getting to bed on time, eating better when you said you wanted to, like going out less, saving your money, having a party when you said you wanted to leave, and like really keeping that boundary with yourself and being like, I said this, therefore I should actually uphold to it. And then this leads into a video I've done previously about self-trust, and like having boundaries builds self-trust, and having self-boundaries builds the power within you to be able to say, I've said no before, I can say no again. I've put a boundary before, I can put a boundary again. If it's doing it with yourself, it makes it easier to do it in other situations with other people, with work, etc. And again, having that self-trust is super crucial when you're trying to do bigger things, expansive things, right? So starting with self-boundaries, although I put this last in the video, gonna be super important to be able to implement other things in your life. So making sure that you're able to build trust within yourself to be able to say no, be able to break the cycles, break those patterns by being like, actually, no, we're gonna put in a self-boundary and I'm gonna say no. I don't have to go to everything. I don't have to say yes to everything. I can leave early. I can leave when I want. I can give as much as I need. If I don't need to give more, I'm not going to, period. Because that is how you actually change your life. You don't overgive in every single aspect of your life. And that is where boundaries come in and why they're so important. As always, I tried to make this video short and bite-sized and pack a little punch, nothing too crazy. I hope that you can watch this, you know, while you're doing your dishes, while you're doing your laundry. If you ever have any questions, please let me know. If you are wanting to have one-on-one personalized help with any of this, I do offer one-on-one clarity calls that you can book below in the description box. Of course, if you're wanting just some more free content about any of this, like mindset and astrology, spirituality, etc., you can follow me on all socials at Coach Ange222. I do have a weekly free newsletter called The Cosmic Queen that you can also subscribe to down below, or just continue to watch more YouTube videos. You can click the bell button so that you can be notified of any videos that I have. Sometimes it's workshops, sometimes it's just miscellaneous quick videos, as well as the final part in the series, which will be part 10. Like I said, if you have any feedback or questions or anything, please comment those down below. Thank you so much for watching to this point in the video. Be on the lookout for part number 10, which is going to be coming up, and that is the final part in the series of how to actually change your life. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day and a great rest of your week. I will see y'all again soon in part 10. Bye.